Jerry Mwageru, the Senior Futurist for Africa at the Institute for Futures Research, and I'm pleased to be joined by Joni Karjalainen from the Finland Futures Research Centre, and we'll be discussing Sustainable Development Goal 7 for this episode of the Future of the Sustainable Development Goals. SDG 7 is about ensuring access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy for all, and some of the targets and the indicators include increasing renewable energy, expanding infrastructure, upgrading technology, and mobilizing funding. Tell us a little bit more about SDG 7 and where we are at the moment.
Well, energy poverty is really about the health. It affects the environment and it undermines local economic opportunities. The lack of reliable electricity undermines entrepreneurial efforts. And then there is climate change, which is affecting all countries globally. And that's really putting pressure for countries and organizations to reinvent their energy systems away from the present energy mix.
And what has been the past progress in the field of energy and development? And can you share with us a bit about the development debates and trends?
So, currently, I think we have to understand energy beyond thinking it as a technological issue.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're seeing at the moment is an increasing thinking in new types of visions, proposals, ideas, actors, and arrangements entering into the energy space. So it's interesting to observe that common to these more recent developments is a mindset change. This mindset change is moving from centralization to decentralization in recognition of the falling costs in solar and wind power, which already in many places are more affordable than new coal power plants. And interestingly, recent studies also show that it is technologically feasible to design energy systems that are entirely based on renewable energy resources. And this is quite interesting and exciting because it opens up a new window of opportunity.
So in terms of contemporary future themes, what do you think will be the emerging issues and what are the expected transformations given the move towards renewable energy?
Well, given what was mentioned about decentralization and renewable energy systems, it's really an invitation to rethink approaches in energy planning in terms of off-grid electrification, taking into account digitalization and new types of services and also business models that are emerging. But the question is also, how can these kind of promising changes be expedited? The second point worth mentioning is that there has been an increase in clean energy investment globally. And there is also new types of finance instruments, from small-scale crowdfunding platforms to social impact funds. And this, to me, is really changing the problem definition from a developmental perspective. I think we may need to pay more attention to how we enable local entrepreneurs and innovators and problem solvers to recognize some of these ongoing changes, to have the knowledge, the skills, the access to networks, and the future orientation to anticipate and benefit from some of these ongoing changes.
Yes, and thinking about future orientation, the SDGs, as you know, target 2030. And what do you feel are important points for us to keep in mind with regards to SDG 7 and progress?
Yes, well, I think the key issues to recognize are really that we are living in a different time compared to the past. The landscape is new and in some instances rapidly evolving, and that there is an urgency. And taking all these things together, I think it is useful if we think how we can train ourselves and the future generations to anticipate and prepare for some of these potentially radical changes? And then also, how can we be part of creatively designing and imagining those new energy systems, services, solutions, and see how they can be made locally adaptable?
And one last question, Joni. Are you feeling optimistic that we will be able to achieve this SDG 7 by 2030?
I'm imagining that by 2030 we'll at least be living in a very different landscape from where we are at the moment.
Thank you so much for your input. It was great to have this discussion with you today. Thank you for watching this episode of the Future of the Sustainable Development Goals. Please click on the logo below to subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more great content. Don't miss the next episode.